guys, it's Kasara, and today I'm going to be doing my June week 2 reading vlog. So it is Sunday, June 2nd. I feel like last month's reading vlogs were not that interesting because while I did read a good amount of books, I had a lot of rereads in them, but this month I have been getting to quite a few new books, which makes me really excited. That being said, I haven't really liked anything that I've read other than the rereads that I've done. So it's gonna be kind of one of those weird vlogs again, I have a feeling, but I'm trying to read books that I know I could really love. That is my goal for this month, is to try and read as many books that I know I could love, and hopefully I will actually end up loving them. So if you missed my last reading vlog, I will link it up in the cards for you guys because I think I managed to finish 4 books in that week, which is pretty good. I am pretty happy with 4 books in 1 week. And like always, I'm gonna start off this vlog with the books that I'm currently reading. So I'm currently reading 4 books. 2 of them are rereads that are rollovers from the month of May. The first one is Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling. As I have with all the Harry Potter books, I'm reading the illustrated edition and annotating the paperback, so it's a bit slower than it typically is. I gave myself to the end of June for this one, but I think I might be finishing it this week, which I'm excited for. Like, I'm really close to the end. I am right there. So the chapter, the third task, is my next chapter to read, and I'm really excited for it because I know, like, starting with that chapter, there's like a 5-chapter stretch or so that I'm probably just gonna read all in one go because it's fantastic and like the plot is just crazy good in that section, and I'm really excited for it. Also, because I might be finishing Goblet of Fire this week, this might be the last reading vlog in which I have Harry Potter illustrations for you guys, which makes me a little sad because the later books don't have the illustrated editions yet. I'm actually really happy that I got through to read all of my illustrated editions because I wasn't sure when I was gonna get to do that. So I'm really happy I got to do that too. So the other reread that I have right now is A Storm of Swords by George R.R. Martin. This is one of my favorite series of all time, and this is one of my favorite books in that series, which is A Song of Ice and Fire, in case you're wondering. This is the 3rd book in that series, and I haven't gotten super far into it. I didn't make any progress last week, mostly because I was making good progress on new books, which is good, but I do plan to finish my reread of this one probably by the end of the month, so I plan on doing this one a little bit slower than I did the first 2 books in this series, and I don't plan on continuing after A Storm of Swords. Like, I don't feel the need to continue on to A Feast of Crows and Dance with Dragons, so I'm gonna read A Storm of Swords before the end of June, so it'll be a while, and I'll be doing it very slowly, but I'm pretty excited for this because it's one of my favorites, and I cannot wait to get back into this world. Also, last night I decided to start a few new books, so I started Network Effect by Martha Wells. This is the 5th book, but first like full-length novel in the Murderbot Diaries. So far, I'm enjoying it. I really like the atmosphere of this book because it reminds me a lot, and I didn't really think about this before, but last week I had a reread that I really enjoyed, which was An Absolutely Remarkable Thing by Hank Green, which is a sci-fi novel. Murderbot is a sci-fi novel as well. And those 2 books have very similar atmospheres that I wasn't expecting because Murderbot's personality is very kind of hilarious at times, which is similar to April May's personality in An Absolutely Remarkable Thing. So I'm actually really enjoying this. I knew I would enjoy it because it's Murderbot, and I've read the first 4 novellas, which are fantastic, and I really enjoy. I've been really excited for the full-length novel to come out for the longest while. I didn't know it was gonna happen, and then it came out this year in May, and I'm really excited to finish it. I'm about like 20% of the way into the audiobook now, so I'll probably finish this pretty early on in the week. And the other book that I decided to pick up last night is Tigana by Guy Gavriel Kay, and I'm not super far into this one at all. I'm right here. But I'm really excited for this one. I've heard really good things about this, especially how beautiful the author is at writing, and that this is really deeply political and complex, which is just like all up my alley when it comes to high fantasy. And I've heard this is like kind of like low fantasy, which I'm fine with. Like, I'm perfectly fine with, and I'm really excited for this. I read the first like 2 chapters so far, and so far I'm enjoying it. I don't know what to pay attention to yet, so we'll see, but hopefully I'll end up loving this one. So those are all the books I'm currently reading, and last night I did make progress on Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire, so that means I have some illustrations to share for you guys. So we last left off here on chapter 28, The Madness of Mr. Crouch. And the first illustration we have is right here, which is Winky, the house elf, who's Mr. Crouch's house elf, who got freed. And she is so precious and sad, and it makes me kind of sad to watch her, but she's so precious. Okay, and then we're moving on to chapter 29, The Dream. So this is the first illustration we have in this chapter. So this is when Harry falls asleep in divination, and we have the image of Nagini down here at the bottom, which is Voldemort's snake. Then we have chapter 30, The Pensieve, and the first illustration we have is of Harry looking into that cupboard where the Pensieve actually is. Really like this illustration, partially because it's behind the words, and I like a good illustration that's behind the words and that interacts with the words, because it makes the words go into a circle. So this is just like Harry looking down, like in the Pensieve, like to the Ministry courtroom. And that's all the illustrations I have for you guys. But that's really disappointing. There's only 3 illustrations in 3 chapters. That's, okay, it was 4 illustrations in 3 chapters, but still, 3 of those 4 illustrations were very small. But I have taken a little sneak peek ahead, and the illustrations coming up ahead are really good, so I'm really excited for them. So it is Monday, June 8th, and yesterday I made a good bit of progress on Network Effect by Martha Wells, and I'm really, really enjoying it. I don't even want to say because it's kind of spoilers, but if you've read Artificial Intelligence, there's a character in Artificial Intelligence, which is the second novella in the Murderbot Diaries, that I absolutely love, and it kind of makes an appearance in Network Effect, and I'm really, really loving it right now. Like really, really loving it. So I cannot wait to continue on with that one. Also, yesterday, I decided to do a Try a Chapter tag, which is coming out this Tuesday, which is before this video, specifically for fantasy by female authors, because I have a lot of unread fantasy books on my shelves by female authors that I didn't really have any plans for anytime soon. So I decided that I wanted to pick one of those books up. So I picked one of them up yesterday. I decided to go with Daughters of the Storm by Kim Wilkins, which really surprised me because this is one of the lesser known ones that I had in that stack of books. And it's one that I didn't know anything about before. When I read the first chapter, I can tell like I didn't necessarily like the writing style that much, but I really, really love the way the characters are structured in this book, because in the first chapter particularly, but we get it in later chapters as well, the characters are kind of set up in a certain way where you understand that character fully, you understand their motivations, and you can feel for that character. But at the same time, they're at odds with each other. So like we have the queen, who is the stepmother to the princess who is the heir to the throne. And the queen doesn't want to call the princess because she knows the princess hates her. And you can kind of feel bad for her because the queen is in a tough situation. And then you have Bluebell, the princess, who is really angry that the queen didn't call her when she found out that her father was really ill. And you can kind of understand why she feels that way, because even though you like both of the characters and understand both of the characters, you can also agree with the perspective of both of the characters, even though they're in conflict with each other. And I really liked that aspect of it, which is what made me pick up this book over some of the other ones. And also I can feel like it's going to be a little bit of a lighter, easier read than some of the other ones, even though I might like some of those other ones a little bit more in the long term. So I'm just in the mood for this type of book where it's more character focused and it's lighter and easier to read. So we'll see. I don't know. I'm really enjoying this one so far. I've read like about 50 pages into it. It's not that long of a book. It's less than 500 pages, so I'm about 10% of the way into it. And yeah, it's been pretty good so far. And lastly, I did the 5-chapter stretch towards the end of Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. There's still a little bit more of the book for me to read, but I got some great illustrations for you. Probably the best illustrations in this entire book. So let's get to them. Okay, so last time we left off here at the 3rd task, which, like I've been mentioning, I absolutely love this chapter page because you can see the maze in the background of the words, which is like my favorite when they put the illustration in the background of the words. And of course, the maze is gorgeous. So yeah, I really like this one. I wish they did that for just the entire chapter. Like it would have been great, but they didn't. So here we have like the last stretch before they get to the Triwizard Cup. And you can see Harry and Cedric and the giant spider that is going to eat Cedric. And this one is really cool too. I just like the illustration here is gorgeous. because you can see, again, Harry and Cedric with the light behind them and the hedges, where you can also see all the way up to the sky over here. And I really like it. And the light behind them, obviously, is the Triwizard Cup. Then we have chapter 22, Flesh, Blood, and Bone. So we have the graveyard. I also really like this one. It's super dark, so I don't know how much of that you can actually see. Harry looks a lot older in this one, though. Like, if you see him there, he looks about the same age as Cedric, which is weird. He's supposed to be, like, about 3 years younger, but this one's really dark, and I really like it. And then we have this one. And this one, initially, like, when I saw it, I was like, oh my gosh, this is amazing. And then I realized what this one was actually depicting, and it kind of bummed me out, not gonna lie. I don't even have words. Like, I don't even have words for what this is supposed to be. It kind of looks like a messed up Groot, if you know what I mean. You guys know what this is trying to depict. It's not pretty. And then we have Voldemort back from the dead. I really hope you guys didn't mind spoilers for this book because, yeah, there's a lot of spoilers in these illustrations. I really like this one as well. It's super creepy and everything, but I think it was really well done. Chapter 33, The Death Eaters. Oh man, this one. This one is pretty creepy also. This reminds me a lot of in the Chamber of Secrets. There was another page with eyes like this, but it was Dobby's eyes, so they were green, which was cute. This one is just creepy, but I like it when it interacts with the text, so I kind of like it too. And then we get the actual Death Eaters. Again, super creepy. Why do their masks have to look like that? Like, seriously, why? And then this is a little illustration of the Stone Angel, which I believe is the statue that Harry is, like, tied to in the graveyard. And then we have chapter 34, Priori Incantatem. And we got this super creepy, super creepy illustration of Voldemort trying to kill Harry yet again. And the actual Priori Incantatem, this is fantastic. I absolutely love it because you got Cedric, you got Frank, you got Bertha Jorkins, and then you got Lily and James, and they're gorgeous. And of course, Harry down in the corner there in that little light thing, and then Voldemort, and then all of the Death Eaters, you can kind of see them trying to sort of get to Voldemort, but at the same time, they don't really know what to do. And it's fantastic, and I really love this illustration. And then one last one at with Harry firing back at Voldemort, and I think this is actually when he decides to break the line of light or whatever it's supposed to be. Anyways, this one's great too. And that is all I have for you guys. So it is Wednesday, June 10th, and I have made quite a bit of progress on the audiobook for Network Effect by Martha Wells. I'm almost done with it. Like, I'm really close to being done with it, but I'm absolutely loving it right now. I love the atmosphere of this book because it's so humorous. I love Murderbot, and like there are multiple artificial intelligences here, and I just love it when they get emotional because they don't know how to handle having a relationship with each other. Like, they understand how to handle having a relationship with humans, but not with each other, and it's great, and I love every second of it. Like, I have about half an hour left in it, so I may finish it tonight, I may not, so I don't know. But so far, I'm really, really loving it. The reason why I say I may not is because I have to go to sleep like really soon. Like, I'm really tired. So I might just wait to finish it in the morning. When it comes to physical books though, I haven't had as much success this week because I feel like the first day of this week, like on Sunday, I started Tigana. On like Monday, I started Daughters of the Storm. That was based off of that Try a Chapter Tag, which, by the way, in case you're wondering, I did decide not to upload that Try a Chapter Tag just because the video quality was really, really bad and my framing was like completely off. It was a mess of a video and it was just taking too much time to edit. So yeah, I decided not to upload that one, but I still have the book that I had eventually decided on reading. I kind of didn't read anything on Tuesday, like at all. And today, by earlier, I mean like an hour ago, I decided to pick up One to Watch by Kate Stayman-London. So this is one of my book of the month picks for the month of June, which I just got my box, and I was just immediately drawn to the color scheme here. This is one of the June books, but this wasn't my actual first pick for June. I picked another one, and then when I was trying to add my add-ons, because I like to get like 3 books a month, because I generally read most of them. If not all 3, I'll read at least 2 of the books. So when I was going to pick my add-ons, I decided to add this one, which was also a June book, as one of my add-ons. And the reason why is because I've just been really good at reading like easy romantic contemporaries recently, and this one just promises to be the guilty pleasure read that I've been looking for this week. It is about a plus-size fashion blogger who is asked to be part of this reality TV show called The Main Squeeze, basically just like The Bachelor and The Bachelorette. I'm excited for it because I like seeing behind the scenes of reality TV. I've heard you get to see some of like the manipulation and things that go on in this book, which I don't know if you guys seen the TV show Unreal, but the TV show Unreal is fantastic. It kind of shows you the behind the scenes of reality TV, which is great. And like it was actually created by someone who worked for The Bachelor before that. So like it has a sense of realness to it too. But I loved that TV show, and I'm hoping to get similar vibes from this one, and I'm excited for it. Also, it's a romantic contemporary, and it should be easy to read, and apparently I'm having trouble closing this week, as in, I can start a lot of books, but I'm having trouble actually finishing any, because I've read, like, the first chapter in, like, 3 books now that I haven't gotten to the second chapter of yet. So, yeah, that's great. Like I mentioned, I'm about 50 pages into this one. I'm inclined to continue on with this one a little bit more tonight before going to bed, so I'll probably be doing that. So it's Thursday, June 11th, and I finished One to Watch by Stayman-London. Yes, I finished this in like basically one day because I started it yesterday. So this is a romantic contemporary following a main character who is a plus-size fashion blogger who decides to become a contestant on a reality TV show called Main Squeeze, which is basically like The Bachelorette, and she is the main squeeze. But it's like the first time they're gonna have a plus-sized main squeeze, so that's interesting. And I like that concept of it. Though I will have to say, like when it comes to books about reality TV, like I really wanted to see a little bit more of like the behind the scenes, like manipulative producer sort of plot. And it just like, there was a little bit of that, but it didn't get as bad as I really think it could have. Like it could have gotten a lot worse. Like there were definitely some things that happened on screen that I was like, oh, the producers are definitely manipulating this. And then like, that never came to light whether they were manipulating it or not. So like, yeah. Anyways, I do think this was such a fun, quick read that I really enjoyed. I will say that like every single plot twist I saw like coming from a mile away, but that didn't damper my enjoyment of it at all. I still loved watching all those plot twists play out, and I really, really like this book. I'm giving this one 4.25 stars. So I forgot to mention when I was talking earlier, but I did manage to finish Network Effect by Martha Wells. I really enjoyed it. I do think there were just some things missing from it. I feel like with all of the Murderbot Diaries stories, I just feel like it just feels incomplete. But at the same time, I still loved every second of it. I love the characters, I love the world building, and I really enjoy the writing. It's just the plot doesn't always do it for me with these books, but it was still super fantastic and made me really happy while I was reading it, so I ended up giving it 4.75 stars. So I finished my reread for Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire by J.K. Rowling, so that means I have some illustrations to share for you guys. Okay, so we left off last here in chapter 25, Veritaserum, and then we have this dark illustration of Mad-Eye Moody at the bottom of the trunk. Then we have chapter 36, The Parting of the Ways, which apparently didn't have any illustrations in it. And then we have chapter 37, The Beginning, and then we have this stunning illustration of Mad-Eye Moody. He is incredibly ugly in this picture, but I think the actual illustration itself is beautiful. And then we have this little illustration over here of Hermione and the beetle in the jar. I'm not gonna explain what that is because spoilers, but it's great. And then it ends with the acknowledgements, which again, we have the beetle underneath there. And then the back illustration to the hardcover back area is just the tentacles again for the squid, which I think is pretty relevant to the story. I will have to say that I do think Goblet of Fire is the weakest illustrated edition because the illustrations there, I feel like not necessarily that there's less illustrations, there's probably the same number of illustrations in this, but there's just so much more words and the illustrations don't quite fit as well with the story as the ones in the previous books have. I will say not this past set of illustrations, but the one before that I shared with you is probably some of my favorite illustrations in the entire series, but it was just one set of illustrations, while I feel like Prisoner of Azkaban, for example, I loved all of the illustrations throughout that entire book. But yeah, I have finally finished reading the illustrated editions for the Harry Potter series, and I enjoyed it. Oh man, it really annoys me because it's now crooked. Like, if you can see that, my edition is crooked. And I think that might just be because it's such a big book. It's really hard to open this without, like, I don't know, laying it completely flat. So yeah, I don't know if I'll ever, like, actually physically read the illustrated editions again, because I don't want to damage them, but I'm glad that I read through them all once, and I think this is something that you can definitely share with other people that love the series as much as you do. So I know no one in my family has the illustrated editions, so I don't regret buying them, but I do think that the later books in the series, I don't think the illustrated editions are going to be as good as some of the previous illustrated editions, just from what I've seen with Goblet of Fire. Also, I did mention earlier, not this week, but in a previous vlog with Goblet of Fire specifically, it seems like they didn't pay as much attention to the actual formatting of this book, because I did find quite a few errors in the words that really annoyed me, that were different than the actual paperback editions. I don't know if I would have noticed it if I wasn't also reading the paperback editions as I was going through the illustrated editions, but it is what it is. I'm disappointed in the quality of all the new Harry Potter things that have been coming out, to tell you the truth. But it is the end of the week, so I'll do a quick recap of what I did this week. I finished 3 books. Like I mentioned, I just finished Harry Potter and the Goblet of Fire. The other 2 books that I finished was Network Effect by Martha Wells. Oh my gosh, this book is so freaking good. It is so much fun. I love Murderbot. I love the humor in this book. It just is a book that made me so happy as I was reading it. I do feel like as I was going through the entire series, each of the first 4 novels in the series, or novellas I should say, are very short, and I always thought that, like, there was something missing from them, even though I really loved Murderbot and I loved, like, everything about each of those first 4 novels. I always just felt like they weren't a complete story. So when I saw that Network Effect was coming out and that it was a full-length novel, I was so excited for it, because I was like, I'm finally gonna get a full-length Murderbot story. And I still felt like there was something missing. I couldn't pinpoint what it is, and I enjoyed it enough that I ended up giving it 4.75 stars, but I was still waiting for something more from it. I think it was plot-wise, I wasn't completely happy with it, but overall, it's a book that made me so happy in a time that I'm having a really hard time being happy. So I'm really glad that I read it. The other book that I finished was One to Watch by Kate Stayman-London. So this is definitely like a guilty pleasure read for me. It is a romantic contemporary novel about a plus-size fashion blogger who decides to go on this TV show called Main Squeeze, which is basically like a fictionalized version of The Bachelorette, and a bunch of stuff ensues. Of course, there's a love interest in here that's really good. Of course, there are tons of twists and turns, as you would expect from this type of show. I was hoping that this one would be a little bit more of a behind the scenes of the show as opposed to the show itself, and it felt a little bit more like I was reading a fictionalized version of a reality TV show, which is fine if that's what this book is supposed to be. And I enjoyed it. I had fun with it. It was just definitely a quick, easy read, and I ended up giving it 4.25 stars. I decided to put Daughters of the Storm on pause, and I think this is something that I'm gonna do more often now. If I'm just not in the mood for reading a book, even if I've read like the first 50 pages of it, if I don't see myself picking it back up, I'm just going to either DNF or put it on pause. I'm putting it on pause because I do plan on getting back to this book eventually. I'm just not in the mood for it right now. It is, I don't know. I think for the longest while I was looking for things that were easy to read, and this is definitely easy to read, but right now I'm looking for something that I want to use my brain a little bit more for, and this is not that. So I decided to put it on pause, and I decided to scrap that entire Triad Chapter Tag anyway, so yeah. it is what it is. So that's all I have for you guys. Let me know down in the comments if you like any of these books, because I would love to discuss with you guys. I post videos Sundays, Tuesdays, Thursdays, and Saturdays, so consider subscribing. I also post bonus videos, so if you want to be notified as soon as I upload, you can click that little bell icon. If you like this video, please give it a big thumbs up to support my channel. All social media links are in the description down below. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I will see you guys next time. Bye.